It's the news we've been wanting to talk about for weeks. Breaking news here on the San Francisco 49ers Report as Nick Bosa and the Niners have officially come to an agreement on a record-setting and historic contract extension, which makes him the highest-paid non-quarterback in the history of the National Football League. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for being here with us. And if you want Niners content every single day, hit that subscribe button. Adam Schefter breaking the news this afternoon on Wednesday that Nick Bosa has agreed to a 5-year deal. In total, it is going to be worth $170 million. That does include $122.5 million in guaranteed money, and by a wide margin, it makes him the highest-paid defensive player in the history of this great game. Adam Schefter with another follow-up that Bosa, with the season opener coming up on Sunday in Pittsburgh against the Steelers, is likely to be ready to play in that game, and hopefully San Francisco able to get off to a fast start. Kyle Shanahan also with an update on Bosa that will hit here in just a little while. First, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you can count on the 49ers Report to have you covered and provide you with the best analysis here on YouTube whenever breaking news happens. We went live right away. Let's get to 85,000 subscribers with this video. So you look at the Bosa contract in total, and I was off by about $10 million in my contract projection. I thought it was going to be a 5-year deal. I thought that Bosa was going to beat out Aaron Donald to become the highest paid defensive player in the history of the game, and he's able to get more years, get more total money at $170 million. The average annual value here for Bosa, $34 million, and the guaranteed money checks in at $122.5. I did see a report that the signing bonus is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $70 million, so Bosa gets the bag in a big way, and he's going to be sitting pretty for a really, really long time. So you compare Bosa's deal with that of Aaron Donald, which he signed a couple of years ago, and the reason that I thought that Bosa was going to get more and deserve more than Aaron Donald is because Bosa is 25 years old. He's coming off back-to-back seasons in which he has combined for 15.5 and 18.5 sacks. He's the younger and better player than Aaron Donald. And I'd rather have an edge rusher as compared to a defensive tackle when I build my football roster. The most important positions on a football team, quarterback, tackle, when I'm talking offensive tackle, not defensive tackle, and edge rusher, because you have to find that franchise guy. You want to be able to protect the quarterback and get after the quarterback. So that Donald deal of 3 years, which paid him $31.6 million, was great at the time, but it was also an old deal. And in the process, Nick Bosa is able to reset the market, which I imagine will last up until Micah Parsons gets his contract extension from most likely the Dallas Cowboys. My immediate reaction to this was that this is something that needed to get done. The San Francisco 49ers are a win-now team. They have made a bevy of win-now moves, but they're not a win-now team without the services of Nick Bosa. And I also thought it was really important for San Francisco to get this deal done, to get rid of some of the lingering awkwardness, the drama, and the dark cloud that's hovered over this franchise's head this entire offseason. And that's so rare to have all of that drama going into the season for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations and that's made it to 3 NFC championship games over the last 4 years. You had the Trey Lance drama in trade. You had Kyle Shanahan getting snippy with the media. You had this weird kicker situation. And back a few months ago, John Lynch had said time and time again, Nick Bosa is off the table for a trade, and we have Nick Bosa budgeted for. But this is a holdout that lasted 44 days. And if you're a win-now team that's looking to win the Super Bowl, you have to have the best defensive player on the field, and you can't afford to start a season slow once again in a packed NFC and play catch-up like you've done the last 2 years. Now, the other big question with this entire situation is this. Nick Bosa signs on Wednesday. This is the first official day that the Niners are undergoing their prep for the Pittsburgh Steelers in game week. Will he be ready and available to play on Sunday? According to Kyle Shanahan, According to Adam Schefter, the answer appears to be yes. Matt Mayoka, NBC Sports Bay Area, he's at the facility right now as Shanahan just addressed the media, and he asked Shanahan about the availability of Bosa. And Shanahan said, quote, he'd have to have a beer belly and be out of shape to not play. In other words, Nick Bosa is expected to rock the scarlet, red, and gold unis come Sunday at Acrisure Stadium in downtown Pittsburgh against the Steelers in Week 1. And this is a guy who we know, obviously, keeps himself in fantastic shape. And word is, everything that I've heard is that Bosa's in the best shape of his life, and he's ready for game action right now. I voiced some of my concerns about Bosa signing a little bit too late and being on a pitch count and maybe getting injured because nothing really replicates real live football. But now he has an opportunity to get on the practice field with his teammates and start that preparation for this game on Sunday. According to reports, Bosa, as of this recording on Wednesday afternoon, as we're live here on the show, is flying to California right now. He spends his off seasons in Florida. His agent is based in New York. He's expected to join the team as soon as possible to start that preparation. And there has been a recent example of a player signing late in the process, but then playing in Week 1. That most recent example was actually with the Niners' Week 1 opponent in T.J. Watt. He signed 48 hours before the season opener back in 2021, which at the time was a record-setting deal. It made him the highest-paid edge rusher in the history of the National Football League with an average annual value of $28 million. T.J. Watt not only played in that season opener against the Buffalo Bills, he contributed 69 of 85 snaps and 2 sacks. Now, the difference in these situations is that T.J. Watt had a hold in, whereas Nick Bosa had a hold out. What that means is that T.J. Watt was with the team, whereas Bosa was not. But I expect Bosa to be on the field on Sunday, maybe on a little bit of a pitch count. But again, he can ramp up over these next couple of days before that trip to the East Coast to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. You look at what Bosa's done the last 2 years. He's truly been a very remarkable player. And he's drafted out of Ohio State by San Francisco back in 2019. And as a rookie, for a team that went to the Super Bowl, he tallied 9 sacks that year. In 2020, suffers a season-ending torn ACL, and then he comes back in 2021. He was marvelous. I actually thought he should have been more in the running for Defensive Player of the Year in 2021 than he was at the time because he tallies 15.5 sacks, 32 quarterback hits, 21 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, and 52 tackles. And you look at the production on the left side of your screen, it's very hard to duplicate that type of production. Nick Bosa did that last year in 2022, and he was even better than in 2021. That's kind of unfathomable because he was so dominant. Led the NFL in sacks with 18.5, 48 quarterback hits, 19 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and 51 tackles. With this record-setting deal, Bosa, nice little addition to the bank account, right? And now he becomes the highest-paid edge rusher in the history of the National Football League. And him and his agent, Brian Aralt, they were very stubborn in these negotiations. They wanted 2 things. For Bosa to become the highest-paid edge rusher, which San Francisco was fine with. They were cool with giving him more than $28 million. But on the other side of that, that's not just what Bosa and his camp wanted. They wanted for this 25-year-old who's younger than Aaron Donald, better and more impactful than Aaron Donald, for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations to become the highest-paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. And by beating out T.J. Watt by $6 million, that's a statement that Bosa and his agent can be proud of because their representation did a good job. And at the end of the day, I know we've criticized San Francisco for not getting this deal done. They deserve some type of credit here for getting this deal done right now, but also handing out the largest contract in the history of the league for a non-quarterback. And this is a team that has not shied away from spending big money. And that should also be noted as well. They've handed out this contract now to Nick Bosa. They traded for Christian McCaffrey, who's one of the highest paid running backs in the game. They paid Deebo Samuel. They paid Eric Armstead, Fred Warner. So they've handed out a bunch of cash. Trent Williams back a couple of years ago. And this is an organization that, once again, is pushing their poker chips to the middle of the table, and they're going all in. So if you're glad that Bosa is finally signed, ending this 44-day holdout, which seemed a lot longer than that. He hadn't been with the team since the spring, all the way back in OTAs. I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video if you're happy that this deal is finally signed. You look ahead at this game against Pittsburgh for Week 1. I'm interested to see if this line changes now that the odds makers know that Bosa has signed. Because San Francisco, they've been hovering at that 2-point line, 2.5-point line as the favorites. The over-under, very low at 41. If you think that there are going to be points scored, go all in on the over here. And if you want to make a bet on this game, no better place to do it than with our sportsbook partner, BetUS, offering a 125% deposit bonus. Enter the link down below, chatsports.com/49bet, promo code Niners125 for that 125% deposit bonus. What that means is you put in $100, you get $125 back, $225 to game with for this upcoming NFL season. More on Bosa, and another reason why he deserves this contract here and why he has earned it and why this is so important for the Niners. It gets some much-needed good vibes going for this football team that desperately needed some good vibes moving forward. And for the 49ers, you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. Brock Purdy is making less than $1 million this year, and he's now under contract for the next 3 years. He wasn't drafted in the first round, so you don't have the benefit of that fifth-year option, having him under team control for a totality of 5 years. You have 3 years left to maximize Purdy being one of the most affordable and cheapest premium assets in the NFL if he continues this ascent and continues to play well, because he's making barely any money. So you have to take advantage of this window, and that's why I'd continue to say, you have to get this deal done. You have to pay Nick Bosa, because you're paying all these big-time premium dollars to other players on the roster. Nick Bosa is the one who's the most important. And without Bosa, you're just not the same Super Bowl contending team. A lot of you out there are also panicking about the money on this deal. I understand it's a lot. $34 million will handicap you on the salary cap to a certain degree. There is no question about that. But even though you're panicking, the salary cap in the NFL is going to continue to rise because the popularity of this game is going to continue to increase. And next year, Micah Parsons might take down Nick Bosa, and he might overtake him as the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of this league. That's how fluid these things are in the NFL and in professional sports. When you look ahead for this organization here, 2024 contracts are going to have to be restructured. And I did see a tweet yesterday where if the Niners were to extend Dre Greenlaw and restructure the contracts of some of their players, they're going to be able to open anywhere between $20, $30, $40 million. So I also understand that a lot of you out there are probably worried that you can't extend a Brandon Ayuk. Financial gymnastics are pulled off by front offices literally all the time. And San Francisco's going to have to get creative with the cap so that they can afford to keep these players on the team. You might have to get rid of a Kyle Juszczyk or a George Kittle. That's the reality of the situation. But those are older players who are descending. Nick Bosa is younger, still ascending, and he's a very, very impact player. So grade the signing of Nick Bosa here, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you think of this deal down in the chat. And can we take a look at those Pro Football Focus numbers? Because this also goes to show you just how special of a player Bosa is. And it puts that 2022 in great perspective. An overall PFF grade of 90.9. A run defense grade of 81.1. So you can't tell me that Bosa is strictly an edge rusher. He's also really good against the run. Pass rush grade of 90.9. And what blows my mind about what Bosa did in 2022, 508 pass rush snaps, 30 quarterback hits, 90 total pressures. That's almost 1 in every 5 opportunities that Nick Bosa goes after the quarterback, he gets home for a pressure. Also on that list, 39 stops as well. So once again, grade the signing of Nick Bosa. If you're watching the show live, we're about to take all of your questions on this front, A, B, C, D, or F. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you stay in the know with all of the moves that the Niners make.